I'd like to call to order the January 28th meeting of the Brushy Creek Regional Utility Authority. The time is 6:02. Please note the roll. Vice President Flores, Secretary Thompson,
Present.
Director Schaffner,
Present.
Director Montgomery,
Here.
Director Kirkland,
Here.
and I'm present as well. Thank you.
Wow, this is loud.
Item 4A, consider approval of the BCRUA meeting minutes of October 22nd, 2025.
Motion to approve.
And I'll
Second.
second. Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hilda, you can vote. Thank you. Item 5A, consider status update from the general manager regarding BCRUA capital projects. Mr. Roberts. Or Mr. Christensen.
Good evening, President and Board Directors. This is, we just have one report tonight. It's an update on the BCRUA projects, and Jason Christensen with Walker Partners is here to present that.
All right, thanks, Sam. There we go. Okay. See it up there. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to give a quick update on the BCRUA capital projects. Here's the three big ones under construction: Phase 2 pump station, Phase 1D water treatment plant expansion, and the Phase 2A water treatment plant expansion. And on the right, here's a picture of the Phase 2 pump station site looking north up Lime Creek Road. And I'll get into a little bit more detail about what's going on there in a second. So Phase 2 contract status, kind of hard to believe we're in our fourth year of construction on this one. We're going into it. Substantial completion date is February 16th of next year. Current progress on the calendar is about 77% complete. However, progress as far as payments to the contractor, we're at about 65% complete. I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly too. So far, one change order on the Phase 2 contract with no extension of time. So some update on Phase 2. I think a decent amount has happened since the last update a few months ago. Currently, all the underground work is done. That was built by SAK. And there's a picture of the suction chamber looking north, all enclosed in concrete and pretty much finished except for some touch-up work. This picture's from early December. There's probably some familiar faces in the crowd there. So a big milestone for the project, getting underground work done. Transition to the above grade work at the pump station site that Thale Construction is leading. They have been looking at the picture. If we work across the page from left to right or south to north, you see the big holes in the main shaft there, and Thale's been working on pump room foundation slabs, and then the kind of backwards L is the pump station walls that are starting to be erected. And that's basically the basement level of the pump station. Kind of the top of the S there is a retaining wall for the electrical room attached to the pump station building. And moving further across the page, they're working on the transformer yard where the primary power comes in from PEC. So they've been making pretty good progress just across the very busy site over the last few months. Last fall, we witnessed the testing of 3 of the pumps in Spain, 1 pump of each size, Cedar Park pump, a smaller BCRUA pump, and then the 1 large BCRUA pump. This is a picture of the Indar facility in Spain. It's their factory floor where they do the pump testing in the foreground. Picture there is the big BCRUA pump. There's not a person in the photo, but to give you an idea of scale, that pump is about 30 feet long. So it's a big one, and those pumps were all successfully tested. They should be getting on a boat, heading across the Atlantic here pretty soon. Moving over to the maintenance building site, adjacent to the actual intake, and the maintenance building finally made its way out of the ground last November. What you're looking at there is the masonry work that's been done so far. The front is the actual building itself, and the larger portion in the back is where the chemical feed facilities will be. So next they'll be continuing with getting doors and weatherproofing, and then starting on the exterior finish work of the maintenance building. It had a pretty big tie-in in November, which shut down the Leander water treatment plant for a couple days. The purpose of that tie-in was to connect or put the groundwork in for the connection to the BCRUA system. What you're looking at in the picture is actually the main line that feeds the Leander Sandy Creek water plant. And on the lateral on the right will be the connection that goes actually around the corner into the Phase 1A BCRUA transmission line. And another shutdown is scheduled to occur next week to make that tie into the BCRUA line. So the contractor had to go in there and take out a good chunk of the Leander pipeline from their barge and drop in this section of pipe. That was all done continuous during a shutdown period, and got it done and got Sandy Creek back online. So Phase 2 schedule status, we've been tracking schedule on Phase 2 very closely all along, and currently based on monthly billings, the contractor, if you project their billings out, they're going to end up about 4 to 6 months late as of now. We've had several executive meetings with the contractor over the course of the project. The latest one was in November of 25 to again, this time really talk about schedule and additional staffing that they need to try to get back on schedule. Contractor's committed to continue to add experienced personnel and try to recover some of that schedule. We have seen some increases in personnel, but not to the level that will get them back on schedule. So we're still tracking that 4 to 6 months behind the February 27 date.
I guess I'd like to chime in on that one just for a second, just for the board's information, that we are initiating additional formal communications with the contractor to implore them to hire additional personnel as needed and to update their recovery schedule to show us how they can accelerate the project. And there'll be more on that in the coming meetings.
And to that point, we've seen good progress lately, but we haven't seen enough of a ramp up to not be comfortable saying that they're still going to be 4 to 6 months behind. Jumping over to Phase 1D real quick. Excel construction reached substantial completion in November of 25. We created a punch list of work to get them completed after that, and they're working on that now. They should be through the punch list within the next month or so. And then we have a paperwork to close out with both Excel and the Texas Water Development Board to get that project wrapped up. And there's a picture there on the right from fall of last year that shows the completed central treatment structure and the fourth treatment basin on the left is basically the 1D project, primarily complete and in operation. Another quick update on the Phase 2A water plant expansion. That contractor's Weber. They were given notice to proceed on December 15th of 25. That gives them a substantial completion date of June 12th, 2028. Their contract is just a little over $97.5 million. And since getting the NTP, we've had the pre-construction conference and one construction progress meeting. And Weber is mobilized, and primarily their earthwork subcontractor, Ranger, has really gotten to work on mass excavation out there. There's a couple pictures here from about a week ago. They started out in the bottom photo, and that's excavation around the disinfection basin, so they can expand that during this project. And then the photo on the top is the excavation for the new south treatment structure, which is basically a mirror of the photo from the last slide out by the entrance to the plant. So
I would love to add that being there every day, watching these guys, they've hit the ground running. Ranger doesn't mess around. They're as you can see, they've moved a lot of dirt in a matter of about a week. So
yeah,
hopefully that will hold true, continue to hold true in the future.
yeah, I think Sam was definitely going to make that point. They've started out moving and hopefully continue that progress.
Hey,
That
Sam,
is-
real quick question.
Sure.
So for Ranger, they're just dumping all the spoils in the quarry?
I'm not sure where they're taking
Yeah, I
them.
believe so.
Okay.
They're not dumping
And
them on
and
site,
it's good,
so that's.
it's good reclamation material, for sure. It's good material coming out.
That's the update on the 3 projects. I appreciate your time and be happy to answer any questions.
Can you, I don't know if this would be for you, Sam, but can you confirm, if you have it, the last recovery schedule update? Like, when was the last date of that? I
Well-
know you're going to pursue formal communication, but,
Well, what I can tell you is every schedule that they submit is called a recovery schedule.
okay,
And it in the last schedule shows them being 50 days, I believe, over schedule. But we do not believe that.
and that last schedule was in November or December?
We just got the November
You just got
schedule.
November?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But I'll tell you that it's a little complicated because on many issues they complied with what we had asked them to do as far as the accuracy of the schedule in terms of the tasks and things that compared to the previous ones that we
Right.
had a year ago, which
Right.
were like totally fictional and they just didn't work at all. So. And, but right now, the problem is they don't have enough staff to execute the schedules. And that's what we're going to be pushing for.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And just for posterity, because I got ahead of myself, I'll call citizen communication. Do we have anyone signed up to speak? Okay, just didn't want to miss it. All right, I'll call out item 6A, consider a presentation regarding the FY 2025 BCRUA financial audit and action approving the same.
Rebecca Goldstein-Darling is here.
Yes.
From Weaver to present that.
Do we have the presentation? It's more of a letter. We have a nice, pretty board report that's actually the audited financial statements. What I was going to go over is just this required communication letter. Do we have it? Okay, so I don't, okay. So if y'all will look at the letter, I'll basically just go over what's in there. That's the required communication of the audit. I can certainly go over any numbers that are as of fiscal year 2025. But again, my name is Rebecca Darling. I'm the partner at Weaver, which is BCRUA's external auditor. So the first paragraph of the letter just talks about the fact that we did audit the financial statements as of September 30th, 2025. That's BCRUA's fiscal year end. Our responsibility in relation to the audit, we do have an engagement letter with BCRUA every year that's dated around June of last year. And it talks about, we form and express an opinion about whether the financial statements that have been prepared by management that have the board's oversight are fairly presented in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. That second paragraph under our responsibility just talks about the fact that we plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable but not absolute assurance. So what that means is we can't look at every single transaction that runs through the monthly financial statements, but we do look at things based on materiality. And while we don't give an opinion on the internal controls over the financial reporting, we do test those controls. So we'll come in and we'll look at, we'll just make sure that what are the policies in terms of approving invoices, and we'll look at that and make sure there's proper segregation of duties and management oversight and those types of things. So while we don't give an opinion on that, if we were to find something where there wasn't proper segregation of duties or things like that, that we would bring that to the board's attention. We did not have anything like that. And of course, if there were other significant matters, we would bring that to you all as well. The bottom of the first page just talks about the plan, scope, and timing of the audit. Just so you all know, the financial statements are as of September 30th, 2025. We give management time to close the books, record all the accruals. We usually come in right after Thanksgiving and spend about 2 weeks doing the audit, and then roll off site and finish writing up the report. Bottom of that first page of the letter just talks about the fact that we are independent of BCRUA. So if we had any, any kind of family or friendship relationship with the board or any management like that, we would be required to disclose that and excuse ourselves from the audit. So we do go through those checks every year. If you look at the top of page 2 of the letter, that talks about significant risks identified. I know that may sound like a red flag. We actually are just required to do our due diligence and do risk assessment every year. So whenever you do a risk assessment, there's always going to be risks identified. So of course, we always look at revenue recognition. While the revenue does come from the cities, we want to make sure that all those true-ups at year-end are correct. So there are some true-ups that happen based on operating expenses and things like that. So we make sure that the cutoff is correct. We send letters to all of the cities to make sure that they agree that what's on their records is what BCRUA is recording in terms of operating and capital contributions. We also look a lot at the classification and the valuations of fixed assets. Obviously, there's a lot of capital assets on BCRUA books. There's a lot of construction in progress, and so while things are in construction in progress, they don't get depreciated, but as those phases get completed, substantially completed and moved into operation, they're required to be starting depreciation. So we look at that pretty heavily just to make sure that that timing is right. We vouch payments to contractors, things like that. And then, of course, we always look at management override of controls, just making sure that those that have the ability to book journal entries and change the numbers have the appropriate authority to do so. So we'll select a sample of journal entries and make sure that the proper people in the Cedar Park accounting, right, who does the BCRU accounting, has the proper authority and that those journal entries make sense. Qualitative aspects of significant accounting policies, we actually didn't have anything new that was required to be implemented this year for BCRUA. So discussion of the accounting policies is in footnote 2 to the financials, but really hasn't changed since last year. Significant accounting estimates, we don't really, there's always some type of estimates in your financial statements. We didn't consider any that were significant risks. Of course, anytime you're dealing with capital assets, you have to estimate the useful life of that asset, and then that dictates how fast the depreciation of that asset is. So we always look at that and just make sure that those lives of those assets are within industry standards. But that's really the big estimate, if you will. Of course, there's true-ups of revenue and things like that, but we always make sure that those are properly cut off. Financial statement disclosures, really nothing new for that. We always disclose, obviously, the dependency on BCRUA for the 3 cities, because that is how the entity gets the revenue, so we're always required to disclose that. No significant or unusual transactions, no identified or suspected fraud. Trust me, I wouldn't be just giving that to you if we had anything like that. And no significant difficulties encountered during the audit. Oops. And if you look at the top of page 3 of the letter, it talks about uncorrected and corrected misstatements. Really, the takeaway from there is we were able to come into the audit, work with the accounting team, and we didn't have to make a bunch of adjustments, so things were properly reconciled. CIP and fixed assets were properly recorded, debt expenditures were recorded, expenditures. So that really is a testament to the accounting team. They do a good job of making sure that that's properly recorded, so we're not having to spend our time saying, hey, you need to record this, or this is wrong, fix this. It was really, it was a clean audit that way, so really appreciate that. Disagreements with management, none. We didn't have any other circumstances to report. Representations requested from management, we always do require management. We have Sam, I think, sign it, and Erica Solis, who's the Director of Accounting over BCRUA. We always have them sign a letter that just says, hey, we've provided you what you've asked for. We haven't falsified any documents. Just them taking responsibility for the information they give us to audit. No other significant matters or findings. The bottom of page 3, it talks about modifications of the auditor's report. The only thing there is we always add an opinion, what we call an emphasis of matter opinion in the financial statement opinion, just saying that BCRUA is dependent on these 3 cities. That's pretty evident when you read the financial statements, but it is considered an emphasis of matter paragraph. But that's all my required communications. I do want to, of course, thank the management team that I work with for that are at Cedar Park, that do the accounting for BCRUA. They're always a great group to work with. We get stuff timely, and it really makes a difference when things are clean and we get stuff on time. So appreciate that. The financial statements are here. I know it's as of 9:30, so y'all are already talking about fiscal year 2026, but I always do point out it's a single year presentation, but if you have MD&A in there that has a whole history of BCRUA and the projects and the phases, and then you have comparisons from prior year to current year. So I always say the management discussion and analysis, which technically isn't audited. We do tie out all that information and make sure that that's appropriate. So that's there, but really the big swings this year, obviously your capital assets went up and your debt went up. So, and proportionally your net position went up because your assets, but again, clean audit. So if you don't take anything else away, that's what you need to. Any questions?
Questions? Okay.
I would just like to say thank you to everyone. Y'all are really thorough and efficient to work with, and with the Cedar Park accounting team. This year actually went pretty quickly, and thanks for getting it done fast and all the hard work y'all do.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. So I guess, do we make a motion to accept as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right. Moving on to resolutions, we'll call it 7A and 7B together. Consider a resolution accepting the BCRUA quarterly investment report for July 1, 2025 to September 30th, 2025, and consider a resolution accepting the BCRUA quarterly investment report for October 1st, 2025 through December 31, 2025.
This evening, we have Mr. Barry Barrier with Meter Public Finance, or Public Investment, I'm sorry, and to present both of those quarterly investment reports.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Madam President, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Mr. Roberts said, I'm Barry Boyer with Meter Public Funds. I have the privilege of being the investment advisor for Brushy Creek Regional Utility Authority. And tonight, just wanted to very briefly review your 9/30/25 quarterly report, as well as your 12/31/25 quarterly report, so covering 2 quarters here. But you have the full detail of the report, I believe, already given to you, but I just wanted to provide kind of a summary of some of the highlights of each of those reports. I'm also happy to answer any questions at any point, so feel free to jump in. For your report ended 9/30/25, there was the value of the portfolio ended about 157.32 million. It's a highly liquid portfolio to make sure we meet the cash flow demands of the utility. About 84% is liquid. That's spread across bank deposits as well as money market funds, as well as investment pools, some intermediate funds in commercial paper, and a little bit longer funds in treasuries. But overall, very, very liquid portfolio, very high credit quality. Value of the portfolio declined just a bit due to just regular planned outflows across the different projects. Investment income for the quarter ended 9/30/25 was about 1.45 million for the portfolio, so some nice income there. Fund activity was pretty typical. A little bit of drawdown in the construction funds for Cedar Park, as well as Round Rock and the Swift Fund. Projected cash flows over the next few months, there was another 12.5 million of maturities in November. But we've got another treasury of 6.5 million coming up in April of 26 to mature. But all in all, the portfolio, of course, remains fully compliant within the Public Funds Investment Act and furthermore within your policy. But that's the review of the 9/30/25. Were there any particular questions there that I can help with? All right. With that, we can jump into the 12/31/25. Not often I get to cover 2 quarters. We're going through 6 months in short order. How about that? But the 12/31/25 report, par value ending the quarter of about 184 million. The income for the portfolio came in at 1.2 million, so slightly less. A little bit of economic backdrop. We are seeing this last quarter, we had 3 rate cuts by the Federal Reserve. So we are going to feel that a little bit in the portfolio as we move into 2026. The Federal Reserve met today. They did not cut rates anymore today, so that's a good thing. Don't expect quite as many rate moves this year, but that will have a little bit of an effect on the portfolio. However, in working with the contacts at Cedar Park, we do look for opportunities to invest funds out and not just leave funds necessarily all liquid. So we do look to lock up yield for the portfolio where we can go out 6 months, a year, or longer, just depending on cash flows and what the draw schedules are for the respective construction funds. But again, very liquid on the portfolio, about 45% in investment pools, 36% in bank deposits, another 8% in money market funds. The overall WAM is very short, well within the 1-year limitation of the portfolio. And of course, a very high credit rating. All your liquid funds are the highest possible rating that you can have, which is required by the Act and furthermore by your policy. But again, the income for the quarter came in at 1.2 million. Maintained very strong liquidity, very strong credit quality. So we're well aligned to continue meeting your liquidity needs as we head into 26 and these projects continue moving along. But I'm happy to answer any other questions you have, comments on the reports themselves, or any general economic questions, what's going on with the Fed, interest rates, et cetera.
Any questions? We're good? Okay, so I guess we consider July 1 through September 30th. I make a motion to accept the report as presented.
Oh, I'll second.
Second. Either one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And consider a resolution accepting the quarterly investment report for October 1, 25 through December 31, 25.
I make a motion to approve.
I don't know.
I didn't
It's
hear
hard
you, I'm
because
sorry.
Hilda's not used to it, voting. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that an aye from you, ma'am? Got it. All in favor, it passes. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess you stay
I
tuned.
can hang around for
Stay
the next
tuned for the
couple if
next
you'd like.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Consider a resolution authorizing the general manager to execute a professional consulting services agreement with Meter Public Funds for BCRUA Investment Advisory Management Services.
President and directors. That's another reason Barry's here this evening is because we've been working on them with an updated investment advisory services contract. The previous contract expired in December, and since that time, we've worked on a new contract, and because the old contract was developed back in 2020, so we've got a completely updated one. And it's in your packet tonight, and there's a resolution in your packet to authorize the general managers to sign it, in this case, because it's not a very large contract, but we wanted to bring it to the board so you were aware of it. And Barry has done a really good job putting together the new contract, and really did not, the inflationary increase to it versus the last contract is very minimal, and it's a $25,000 per year contract, and the contract is for 1 year. It's a 1 year term, but it has 4 automatic approvals if neither party requested to be terminated. Either party can request termination with their 30 days notice. So essentially it can turn into 5 1-year contracts. But anyhow, for tonight, what it is a 1-year contract. And we've reviewed it with the finance team. Barry and his team have done a great job getting these quarterly investment reports all up to date for us since we didn't meet in November and December. And I really appreciate that. And we look forward to working with him in the future. So with that, I staff and recommends approval of this contract.
Questions? Moving on, okay. I move to approve as presented. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Motion passes, okay. Where are we?
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you
think I
very
have one
much.
more
Thanks,
item, and I'm
Barry.
happy to talk about it as well if you'd like.
Okay, so 7D, consider a resolution approving an updated BCRUA annual investment policy strategy and approved broker-dealer list.
Where'd that go? Oh, I got it right in front of me. So, Barry, you're welcome to stay. I was going to present this item, and if they have any questions, it's nice that you're here. I
Sure.
appreciate that. This is our investment policy strategy that gets reviewed each year by the finance team, and it gets up, broker-dealer list gets updated by our investment advisors, Barry and his team. And we're required to, the board's required to approve it each year. And so we've gone through it, we've updated the broker-dealer list, and we've updated I guess they call it the authorized signatories and the acting officers, and because they change a little bit each year. And the new officers or whatever, the updated officers are Kevin Klosterberg, Director of what I guess, do they call it CFO in Round Rock? And Erica Solis, Director of Finance in Cedar Park. Otis Williams, CFO at City of Leander, and then myself. Yeah, with that, if y'all have any questions about it, we'd be happy to answer them. And I can tell you, I've gone through it pretty carefully, and it's a very thorough strategy. And it's our audit follows it. I mean, everything flows kind of from the strategy. And I think, as you heard Rebecca say, that we're in pretty good stance with the way we do our accounting. So anyhow, I recommend it for approval.
Questions? Moving on, okay. I move to approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Barry.
Yes, thank you all very much. Very excited to have been working with you and looking forward to the next several years. If you ever need anything or have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, call item 7E, consider a resolution authorizing the president to execute a professional consulting services agreement with Terracon Consultants Incorporated for provision of construction materials testing, CMT, services for BCRUA Phase 2A Treatment Plant Expansion Project. Mr. Roberts.
And that kind of sums it up right there. It's, all of our construction projects have to have materials and testing, construction materials and testing services, which means we have to contract with a professional geotechnical firm. And that contract has to be with BCRUA by statute. It can't be with the contractor, which is a good thing. And for this project, this is a big project. It's, Jason, y'all, it's 9 months. What is it? 2 years, 9 months, which it's 1,000 days, 1,000 day long. And so anyhow, we Walker Partners, and I was involved to the extent that I've had experience working with the company that we're recommending, but Walker Partners really negotiated the contract with Terracon, and it's a unit, it's a unit price and unit rate contract, kind of like time and materials. We only get billed for the work that they do, and each type of work they do, that has a certain rate, an hourly rate, and then it has a certain cost per hour. And so anyway, the contract is $205,150, and kind of like on phase 2, if for some reason, that we end up using more services than that, then we would have to come back and amend the contract, which we had to do on phase 2, or likewise, if we go under that, then we would have a savings. But anyhow, Terracon's done a great job for the city, for the BCRUA, and I know the cities do. We used them. I think most cities do. It's a very large company. They do a good job. And so with that, we're recommending authorizing a contract with Terracon Consultants for the CMT services for Phase 2A.
Okay.
I recommend that we authorize the contract with Terracon Consultants for provisions of constructing testing materials for BCRUA.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Fantastic. All right, moving on to item 8A. We're considering an executive session as authorized by 551.074 of the Government Code related to annual evaluation for the general manager position, and time is 6:40. We're adjourned into executive session. Now we get to talk about you. All right, I call back into session the BCRUA meeting at 7:26. And executive session items, consider possible action regarding the annual evaluation for the general manager position.
I move that the Board of Directors of the BCRUA recommend to the City of Round Rock that Sam Roberts, the general manager's compensation, be increased by 4%.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Roberts. All right, Director, closing comments. Director Schaffner.
No comments.
All right.
Good night.
Director Kirkland.
Everyone have a safe trip home.
Director Montgomery.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for all the work and the conversation, and we look forward to having you for another 3 to 5 years, Sam. Thanks. We're adjourned.
Good meeting.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, where did that come from?